Hey everybody, it's PJ from Wisconsin Airgunners. We got something pretty exciting tonight. We are going to be setting up the T2Pro from Xinfrared, and I'm really excited about this, and here's why. It is a microscopically tiny thermal. It is absolutely budget priced, and you can convert it to a thermal sight and put it on your air gun. Check this out. This footage from the T2Pro is recorded directly to the app. The camera features a manual optical focus, so you, one, have to set the focus, but two, and this is really, I think, a pro, you get to set the focus manually. Like all thermals, you will occasionally see it stutter, and what it's doing here is recalibrating to the surrounding temperature settings and readjusting. The app allows you to do hotspot tracking, which, like it sounds, is going to take the hottest thing on screen and highlight it for you, which is useful for catching fast-moving things. And just like that, you have an answer to the mystery of why your bird feeders are always empty.
That cleaned right up.
So 2 deer at right around 85 yards. I think we live in a world where things happening automatically is a big benefit to us, and we kind of get used to it. But as you're going to see later, the ability to manual focus is actually a real plus on this unit. I also want to talk about multiple ways to record. This is recording within the app, but you can also do, at least on an iPhone, a screen capture record, and both work pretty well. The app has multiple color palettes, so you'll see here I have the heat tracking feature on, and then I'm going to scroll through a couple of the different color palettes. This one is the red hot version. And this is black hot, and we'll switch over to white hot. So while you're looking at some deer walking around on the backyard range, let me just talk a little bit about how the unit works. The base or core of the unit, I showed you a picture of it earlier, is just this really tiny plug-in camera. It comes in both iOS version with a lightning plug and a USB-C version for your Android devices. And it's really as simple an operation as downloading the appropriate app and then plugging the camera directly into your phone. The version I got comes with a converter so that you can put the camera on a little bracket, and then there's a phone bracket, and that'll all screw into a hand grip, and you're able to sort of use it as a handheld, and instead of the camera plugging directly into your phone, there is a cable that runs between them. The main screen on the app allows you to control all the column functions or features, including changing the color profile, recording, stopping recording, and some really cool stuff that I'm going to show you later. So make sure you stay tuned for that. The app is really simple. I'm sure there are some tutorials out there, but basically if you've used a camera app in the past, and you understand that you really can't screw anything up. It's just clicking or unclicking buttons, and the thing just works. I was up and running in minutes, and that included the time to find the right app and download it. All right, so first you have to take the T2Pro from its, I want to use the word diminutive just because I've always wanted to throw that into a video, but we got to take it from its really tiny, like just plug into the end of your phone mode, put it in its case so that we can mount it to the airgun. So I'm going to walk you through that in a series of pictures. Should be pretty easy to follow along, and then we're going to head out and do a little night hunt. My kit came in two main boxes. One of them was the camera itself. It's really well padded and comes with a protective case, which is pretty nice. And then the other box contained basically the airgun mount, which includes the housing and all the screws and a couple of tools and the plugs you're going to need. More on that later. Step one is to remove the camera from the protective case, and don't fight the urge to just play with it directly, plugging it into your camera and play around with the settings, because it's pretty cool and you really shouldn't miss out on that part. Step two is to get your tools ready. You can certainly use the included Allen keys, but if you have your own, and you should have your own, you need a 2mm and a 2.5mm. You've got a couple of screws you're going to take out and then reinstall, and these two will get you through everything. To prep the case, you have to remove this bar and its two Allen screws. When it comes out, make note of where the spongy part is. That's what's going to go against the camera when you install it. You need to orient yourself to the case. The big opening on the top is the side where the connection is going to go. You do need to take off the rubber lens cap, otherwise it won't fit into the case properly. The camera will slide really just perfectly into the case. You should have no problems at all with this. Just make sure that your lightning port is headed towards that opening. Once everything is situated with the camera, you can put that bar back in and start tightening down the two screws that hold everything in place. I do have one caution here, and that is while you're tightening, take a look through the side and make sure that you are tightening those screws evenly so that bar is moving down and keeping everything square. So locate the, I guess, 180-degree lightning plug. That's the one I use because I have an iPhone. And then the system comes with an extension cable that you're also going to use. And the next step is to feed that cable through the housing from the back side and then connect it up to the plug. At this point, I realized I had not tightened the bar down far enough for the plug, which lives inside the housing, to clear that bar. So I had to tighten that down a little bit more so that everything was really locked in there, and then I was able to put the plug in, and here's a view of what that looks like from the outside. Very clean installation. The back plate can be installed one of two ways. It will go together both ways, but there is a right way and a wrong way. If you're like me, you'll do it the wrong way first and then turn it around. What you're looking at now, so that you can see the cutouts, is the right way. This is the way that you put it together. See how there's no cutouts here? This is a picture of me doing it wrong. Don't do this, it just wastes your time. Once you have it properly put together, you can turn your attention to the bottom. Now there's two ways to mount the housing. One is through a 1/4 20 screw, and the unit comes with a pistol grip for that, which is pretty cool. The other option is to take the 1/4 20 mount out, and then you're left with a picatinny mount, which we're going to be able to put on the top rail of our airgun. It also comes with a phone bracket, and you can attach the phone bracket to the back of the unit so that it is all one piece, and then the phone plugs in to the thermal and you are set and ready to go. And here we are mounted on the Nixon Tacto S, which has a really long pick rail out front and is perfect for this kind of shooting. So this is the cool part. I've now got this mounted on my Nixon Tacto. It's 22 caliber, unregulated. And what you can do on this, and this is the one thing that a lot of the other things you might buy at a budget price can't do, is I hit this button right here, and all of a sudden it brings up a crosshair. Now if I unlock this, what it will allow me to do is take a shot and then adjust the crosshair to wherever I want it to adjust. And I've just gone through the zeroing process, so there is a little stick right there, and I was able to actually adjust it for that stick, and just like that, I'm hitting the stick. Like I'm looking at it over the scope. I'm looking at it on here, line it up. So right now, the Tacto with 18.13 grain JSBs is zeroed at about 14.5 yards. So when we go into full dark barn and there's pigeons or starlings, it's going to be super easy to take these 15-yard shots because the gun's all set up for it. And all I've got to do is turn the crosshairs on or turn them off. If I want to adjust it, if I had a different range, and I could certainly figure out the holdovers, all I'd have to do is unlock it there and then take my shot, move it up, down, left, and right. You can either drag it around on the screen itself, or you can use like the little D-pad there. But I've got this dialed in for some pest control work we're going to go do in a couple hours, so I'm going to leave it right where it is. Fair warning to all viewers, we are out on the farm in a barn doing some pest control, protecting some cows from some sparrows and starlings. If that's not your thing, it's probably time to tune out. What you're seeing now is a screen capture of the software, so I'm capturing the whole screen. Apologize if at some point I get a text message or something like that that pops up. I promise there's nothing too saucy. At first here, we don't have the rifle loaded. We're just walking around the barn trying to see what kind of birds are here and make sure that the unit is functioning properly. You can see that these birds tend to get back into places where you can't actually see them with the naked eye. They are definitely tucked back in here, and it's pretty obvious as to why they would do that. So this is our first shot. And you can clearly see just how effective this is as a pest control tool. I've been really impressed with the clarity and fine detail that you see with this unit. I don't know if the right term is dynamic range, but I mean, just look at how you can see where all the wood is. You can see where you've got a metal roof, and then there's some areas where there's, well, you can see the electric light there. That was just a recalibration. But just, I mean, it's not pitch black in this barn. There are lights in there. But the way that this unit is able to capture visual detail was pretty impressive as we worked with it. And remember, you're looking at a $350 thermal. If you're going to use your phone's screen capture to do the recording, you may want to remember to turn on airplane mode so that you don't have quite so many things coming onto your screen. That was a lesson learned on this first night out. Again, the air gun is unloaded as we're doing kind of these crowd B-roll shots. Just wanted to show you close up how much clarity you get out of this unit. Really impressive. Back to the shooting. What we thought was one bird actually turned out to be multiple birds, and they thought they were so clever tucked back in here. We had to really slow this down to see what happens. So in a minute, the shot's going to break. If you watch very carefully, you're actually going to see the bird in front drop and then another bird take off. And what we found was happening as we were actually shooting them off nests. They have a lot of these spots where we're shooting, there are actually two birds in each of these spots. So here's another discovery. When you shoot into wood, the pellet impacting the wood creates heat, which you can then see in the scope, and you can use that to fine-tune the placement of your reticle. You ever wonder what birds do before takeoff? This guy doesn't like that we're shooting. There it goes. We talk about this as pest control operators. Birds defecate before they take off. There's your proof. What really stands out to me is the ability to fine-tune the focus because you have an optical focus on your lens, and then the ability to make fine adjustments on the crosshair means that you can have really accurate shooting and a really clear picture of what you're shooting at. They think they're so clever back in there, and if you're not really paying attention, it can be easy to walk right by them, and you certainly wouldn't see them if you were shining a light around the building. It's just really hard to hide from a thermal. I guess that's why the predators use them so often. Here's another one nesting in a similar spot just a few yards down the barn. You'll notice that I shoot low on the first shot, but he sticks around long enough for me to have a follow-up. I almost missed this guy. Almost. I wasn't exactly sure if I'd connected with this guy looking through the thermal. And it is kind of challenging when you're focused on one thing at one distance and then have to look somewhere else with different lighting conditions. I guess the bottom line is you certainly can do the shooting alone, but it always helps to have a spotter so you can check on things. In this case, John was spotting for me, and he saw the bird go down to our left about 20 or 30 yards away. This was a tough one because I wasn't sure if I should shoot left or if I should shoot right. And in the end, I guess you'll have to decide whether I made the right choice. a couple more shots, if nothing else, to show that we're not perfect. And then we'll head back to the bench and wrap things up. It was impressive aerobatics, but in the end, he landed pretty much at our feet, and that was that. Okay, one of the big questions we try to answer on the channel is it worth it? Is the Xinfrared T2Pro worth picking up? Okay, here's the answer to the question. It's $350. I'm not trying to diminish the value of $350. But when you look in the world of thermals and what you can get for a couple $100, I gotta be honest with you, there's not much out there. About 10 years ago, at my day job work, we invested about 10 grand into a thermal monocular. And I will tell you, looking through this unit and that unit at the same time, you can just put that $10,000 unit away. It is not what this is. And you're getting this for, I'm not even going to do the maths on it, you're getting this for a ridiculously small fraction of the price, and it is way better. In fact, I have another monocular that spec'd out. It's the same resolution. And I would say, and maybe, just maybe, it's because I'm looking at the bigger screen to see things, I think this unit kind of edges it out in visual quality. $350. And you can, with an included kit, turn it into an airgun sight. No magnification, but you can, change the reticle around. You can pick different stuff. You can zero it to what you need to. And there is nobody else out there who is putting together a package like this at anywhere near this cost. So if you were going to ask me, if a friend was asking me, hey, I want to do some thermal stuff, I need to get into it as cheaply as possible, but I want something that, that looks decent, this unit from Xinfrared ticks all those boxes. And really, it's not only the least expensive thermal I've played with, it's probably the most feature rich at this point. So is it worth it? Absolutely gets my thumbs up. And the people I've shown it to have all been pretty excited about the potential here. So good job to Xinfrared. I appreciate them sending this over for a review. I hope that you guys have learned something from it and maybe even enjoyed it. Always appreciate it when you hit that like button and share it with your friends. Those things really do help out the channel and gives me opportunities to bring more stuff your way. Until the next video, shoot safe, shoot straight, and we'll see you around.